So we are now second last. I don't know if we don't need something else than just standing up. If you have some house music lined up or something, Daria. No.
That's close to the topic now. That's close to the topic, video.
It is.
So hello, good evening, and indeed we are almost at the end of this first very packed day. So video and AI related to customer experience, and maybe then also building on what the previous question from Carlos. I will go back into more detail. How can we make that a bit more multi-directional? But before we go there, first a quick round of introductions, and let's start here. Yeah, you've introduced yourself already.
I already introduced myself.
So I should ask the people if they know who you are. But okay, we will not do that.
So I used to be Pharma, Rheumatology, customer experience lead.
Yeah, so Cyril, Mandry, driving Omnichannel experience, at MSD.
Well, my badge said former Merck, which should say former MSD, which makes me feel like I'm nothing without my former employee. But now I have my own agency, let's say. I started the journey of self-employment with CX Advisory, and I advise pharma and other customers on any topics around CX. So I'm Myszkowski.
I recommend Michal.
Me too. We all used to be former colleagues.
Mark Benthin, founder and CEO of Viihealth.
Cool. So going into the topic, and Mark, I'm going to start with you. And the reason is very simple. You've been, I can say, at the forefront of bringing video as a kind of new engagement channel into the health and life sciences space. So stepping a bit back and then fast forward winding, what are still the relevant kind of learnings you've seen during that journey, and where are we today with video as an application in really staying tuned with our customers?
Well, I think video in general, harkening back to some of the messages around the creativity and the storytelling, any kind of video is known for being memorable. And anybody can see a video and retain more of it than if they had read 20 pages. At the same time, you can make that impactful if it's focused on a particular topic. The challenge with video has always been it's monolithic. How do you make it personal? How do you really make it something that is modular from an omnichannel perspective? And how can you then really make it easy? And I would say the one message which is really important in this day and age is to add to this mix convenience. It has to be convenient not only for the user to consume the content, it has to be convenient for all aspects of that supply chain to make the content, the marketeer, the compliance experts, the rep if they're involved, any of those actors along the way has to be convenient for that. So I think nowadays, what we've seen over the last year and a half, 2 years with the combination of AI and video is that is now possible. You can, if you dream it, you can actually make it, and you can make it in a way that is relevant, compelling, as well as personalized. And that's pretty exciting.
We'll come back to that, please. Adela, you want to go, or Cyril?
I can.
Be a gentlewoman.
No, please. Then go first.
I mean, yeah, very much agree. And in preparation of this session, this time I didn't consult ChatGPT. You did, I think. I'll leave you that part. I just consulted good old Google, and I found a study by the Content Marketing Institute, which is a global organization part of Informa, non-pharma as well. So it's really nice. You come a little bit out of our sect. And it was basically highlighting that 70% of marketeers believe that video, the importance of video has even more increased over the past year. It's not replacing other content, but it's super important because indeed, the storytelling and conveys those human connections that we're all craving for. But of course, it needs to be agile. So in order to be able to produce at scale in a personalized manner, you need to be able to do it quicker, faster, with less costs, and just have this agility. And here, I mean, AI, which is I think part of our discussion today, is really revolutionizing, I think, our lives in general, Gen AI, but also video creation in multiple aspects. But I'll let the others comment first.
I can just quickly build on what has been said. I fully agree. I mean, if I look at pharma communication, when you compare it to the other industries, which is what our customers see, right? They see every industry. I think we lack a bit of a creative touch, a lack of a human touch, and more compelling touch. So if a video as a mechanism is a way to be more compelling and engaging, right? So if we can do more video in our communications, that's great. And that definitely AI is going to help us do that for all the reasons you've mentioned. One thing I would say though, it's pretty easy today to tell if it's an AI-generated video or not an AI-generated video, right? Anyone who's done commercial, been in commercial development, it's pretty easy today. So I think we need the tools to further develop to get there, right? So I think it's a very good progress we're seeing.
Yeah. I think I'll build exactly on that because, as you said, in preparation of this session, I did ask ChatGPT, but I also started to use an app which, with a text prompt, you create a video. And I can tell you there is no risk of us being replaced by AI for creativity. So this video we saw from AstraZeneca, I don't think AI will be possible to replace that. However, and to build on your points, it exactly helped to split things up, to make the workflow easier, to identify things, to summarize things. And I think to give a tangible example with a bit of fun. So of course, some people like graphics, some people like more table and text. Everybody likes videos of cats and dogs being cute or people falling off the stage. And now I think AI can help us to identify these patterns so that the person that likes graphics will get graphics, the person likes cats will get cats, and so on. So I think that's definitely, yes, everything logical. Yeah.
A quick comment to what Cyril said. Yeah, maybe in certain ways, I mean, as usual, right, with Gen AI, I mean, it's never 100%. So the human afterwards needs to rework it. But of course, it helps you to have, to create that script initially, that storyboard, and maybe automate the editing process. The voiceover, I personally listened to well, on a comparative basis, a machine voiceover, so a robot voiceover compared to a human. And my personal view was that it wasn't that bad. So
I'm not saying it's bad, but you can still see the difference, right? If you look at, anyway,
we can try to talk like that here now, but okay.
Soon humans will be the difference. Will stand out. Yeah.
The cool further, Mark, you wanted to.
I just wanted to add to that. I think as you look at it, it's not so much to let's ask the machine to take over and create everything. It's about looking for very specific functions that can be really aided by using the technology in the right way. So, for example, it's really hard to schedule a KOL to get a production team to do something. Well, you can make sure to capture their lifelike avatar, create it one time, and then use that properly with the right hands and behind the scene to make that a very good result, high production value result. On the representative side, you can use generative AI to put the rep person into the digital channel without the rep having to do any work. So it's amazingly convenient, and they now feel part of that email channel. So I think it's very important at this early stage to look for very specific applications that are repeatable use cases and then apply the Gen AI properly to each of those sets, rather than just sort of stepping back and say, well, put me an orange screen with some cats and dogs on it, because that doesn't necessarily appeal to the particular situation.
Yeah, I think we all agree that it could and should be a very engaging channel. But you already mentioned, and the previous topic was about omnichannel, and we are talking about omnichannel during so many years already, is going beyond now the video as such, because it is a channel. How could AI, thank you, how could AI play a role in this orchestration we are always talking about, in making sure that we use that video in the right way, at the right moment, and so on and so on? Do you see some applications there in helping companies sorting out this whole... It's still a big challenge for many companies to get a proper omni-channel engagement plan rolled out.
Well, I think the first stage of, when we think of video, we think of recorded video. We think of something that exists as a document that you can review. But video is really headed towards, supported by AI, is headed to more of a real-time interaction, where the response might be slightly different from one patient's interaction with that video or another, based upon information that the system is gathering. So I think that future state with the use of AI will become much more interesting, very compliant, not just based on wide ChatGPT responses, but very specific content that's allowable in that particular space, where the responses can be within context, but you would respond potentially differently to someone who you learned was new to the computer and new to the therapy, let's say, than you would with somebody who has been through this many times and has a very specific question. Certainly AI and video, that real-time experience of video, can provide a great result there. And I think that's the next stage which we're quickly moving into.
Michal, your take?
Well, if I build on that again, video is also data, right? So AI can help with everything data. So you can transcribe a video, then you can also get it into a feedback loop. I think that is also critical, and to the example you said, right? So either it's an avatar, or it's a snippet of an existing video, or it's a summary based on the data that is exchanged between the requester and the provider of the video. Definitely AI can help to provide the right content at the right time in the right channel.
Yeah. I don't know if it's me or someone, but anyway, all I would add, I mean, I fully agree with what you said, is what I see, and definitely one thing we're doing is building like company instances of AI, right? Instead of using ChatGPT, you build an instance of it on that large language model, which is a way to ensure you stay on brand, or that what you create is leveraging company assets to stay on brand rather than building on beyond brand type of content.
Yeah, so I think, to your question, the use cases for AI, I mean, we discuss video here, but of course they are limitless. And the little risk is that one goes into all direction by trying to sort of explore it all. It was interesting. I was recently in another conference with, again, complete only non-pharma, and a big insurance company was sharing. So their head of marketing was sharing their approach, where basically he asked his team managers to each sort of together with their team identify 2 use cases per team. Different teams, lead gen, so not talking omnichannel, but the real, so yeah, outside of pharma, to identify 2 use cases and to really work on exploring those. And I think that's maybe sort of the approach to take. So what are, our biggest needs, and how could AI support us? And it goes from, yes, content production, content recycling. We're, for example, working now with we've been working for a while with a webinar provider that allows now to, with the help of AI, create out of a webinar automatically videos, blogs, and this content repurposing. Of course, always to 80%, then the human does come in. Then, of course, there's the entire MLR process, referencing process that could massively benefit from AI. And I know many companies, including ours, are working on exploring that. So yeah, revolutionizing our
way of working. If we go back to the video application, because we were also discussing, the goal at the end of the day is to have a kind of multi-directional engagement model. So how can we really leverage the video application in a proper way, that there is a kind of real exchange happening between, let's say, a rep and a healthcare professional, but also, and vice versa, but also allowing an HCP doing the same with the patient and vice versa. Any thoughts about this?
I think especially for patients, right? When you take the feedback loop, not everybody's comfortable with talking to a video. But again, to build on the avatar idea, that could be something which would perfectly help to make it still more human. Of course, the recipient would still know it's an AI, but it would definitely create much more engagement there.
And it's definitely where you don't want to dupe somebody that it is this person who is now speaking Italian, French, Chinese, Japanese, who you run into on the street and they don't speak those languages, right? It's important to be upfront with the use of generative AI to deliver, whether it's for a patient or for professional purposes. But from, you mentioned the rep side, it can help to amplify an existing relationship and the information around that existing relationship. So there might be information that is not being received, there's no time in the office, but the relationship is already there between that representative and a certain number of physicians. That can then be used where the rep is part of that messaging very easily in a modular component at a scale, can be personalized, but it won't just be the standard old email. It'll be something a little bit more advantageous that you can also measure, you can get additional data from. We've been seeing exceptional results in those kind of scenarios where reps in the field that don't want to do any extra work, they've already got enough on their plate, are using the videos as kind of tent poles in their relationships to be able to make sure some information goes through, gathering information back from that, and then continuing the follow-up with physicians. So I think it's a nice amplification of that existing relationship.
I think it's a great point you're making, right? Because looking at the customer relationship, the customer life cycles and where we are, I think it's more once you've already engaged them that you can use it, because I would hate to start organizing cold calls with AI video, right? Because you could use it at scale, and that would be, I think, a nightmare, right? So I think it's a very good point.
Yeah. Do you have 2 cents to add to this one, Adela?
I think that was too well said. No, fully agree.
Do you see from an industry perspective other applications? For example, you're dealing also with residents to give this as a kind of a service to people who are responsible for their educational processes. Coming a bit back to thinking out of the box, adding value, services, etc.
No, definitely. I mean, this is typically where I think we need to experiment, right? And to be frank, I don't have too much to share there because we are just starting. But
okay.
I think education, definitely an area. Again, it's the value you bring where you are in the customer relationship, and the type of value you bring, right? If it's to share education, definitely something which is in a pool type of engagement, that makes total sense to me. But in other types of engagement, I would rather use other types of engagements.
Okay.
And I think it just goes back a little bit to the point of content repurposing. So you have the traditional face-to-face medical education event, that those that are on site, that were able to travel, from another country or from, go through a traffic jam in the city to attend an event, they can benefit from the content, but then ideally you record it, or you leverage video to be able to make it available to those that were not able to attend, to those that may want to hear it again. So yeah, content repurposing and leveraging video for that, I think is part of what we want to do to add value and to put also our stakeholders in the driving seat in regards to when they want to consume content and how they want to consume it. And that goes, of course, for company organized events, congresses, wherever that's possible, etc.
It's a question for both you, Michal and Mark. What do you see as a next logic step in leveraging video? It's a broad term in building a strong mutual kind of engagement model. Have you been thinking about it? Do you see new use cases popping up?
There's some consistent use cases, whether they're one-to-many, one-to-few, or one-to-one, where video has very distinct value. And what we've seen in any journey is that there's a few low points in the journey that need to be supported. And that's the place to start to really focus the use of video, whatever that situation is, whether it's rep, whether it's KOL to physician. That's the key value point of video, because if you can really focus the attention on delivering the right story, the right message at that point, we already know that it's impactful, we already know that it's memorable. If you can then focus on that delivery side and make it personal, you can gather the data that then says, okay, this is a proven use case, we're able to go further. So we're seeing very consistent usage of all the video with AI. You change the production paradigm. It has changed entirely overnight because you just don't need to wait for talent anymore to schedule. That's a lot easier. Languages become that much more easy to handle, to go into other markets, to localize, to do those things. And where we see huge opportunity downstream as people get more comfortable is that element of personalization. How do you use that to bring the video together in the right modular units so that you can actually have the right impact?
Yeah. And as we're running out of time, just to build very quickly, on what you said. It's about the value, right? We heard it now many times. It's about the human. It's not about the AI, but it's about the human. And what is the value? Is it shortening information?
Yep.
Is it asynchronous communication? So that we could, as you said, clearly identify it's an avatar, but it's a message from the doctor to the patients and from pharma to KOL.
Yep.
So I think it's it depends on the value chain and the journey, and in the right moment we have to engage there.
And to close, well,
Please.
to close out, I think that's coming back to value and personalization, being able to offer different formats where all of that, right? The challenge is that you need time for that. And here is where my big hope is that AI, and if we nicely play with it, will help us enormously.
I just want to build onto that. It would be very nice that any kind of message which is conveyed over the video says, okay, for Dirk, it has to be like this. For Cyril, that's what I know is important to him, so that everyone gets to something meaningful. So, okay, we are at the end of the session. I don't know if there is any burning question in the audience. If not, I want to thank everyone, and I suggest we make space for the last topic of the day.
Thank you.